Growing up where I did, there wasn't too much diversity. My heritage is Scotch-Irish, but my mom usually cooked just the meat and the potato type of meals. Good, but limited in what I would call adventuresome. So my foods were somewhat limited until I met Rosie. Rosie and her family lived across the street, and her mom and dad were refugees from Russia. They actually were smuggled out of Russia in a hay wagon. They became U.S. citizens. They proudly held down jobs. They truly were living the American dream. Well, Mrs. Kaminsky was always in the kitchen, and that's where I got my first taste of pierogies, potato pancakes, borscht, and Hulushka. Now, I know that many nationalities have their version of this noodle and cabbage recipe, and I'm going to share with you mine. Of course, I've trimmed it down somewhat, and I'm going to use the similar ingredients to make two different recipes. So this is my take on H's for Hulushka. Now, it's very economical. It's easy to serve a crowd. I've added my own little twist to it. I've added a little bit of bacon. I don't always know if they do that, but back here on the skillet already, I have going in the pan, I cut up 3 slices of bacon, an onion, and I already added some of the cabbage to it. And it's cooking away back here just until the cabbage wilts a little bit. If you're lucky enough to have a cabbage growing, I will not today and pick my own cabbage today. If you're lucky to have that, just chop it up, put it in the skillet. If it's in the dead of winter, or if you just don't happen to have a garden or a good neighbor who might give you a head of lettuce, you can buy this coleslaw mix. This makes this recipe even easier. It's already cut up for you. It's washed and ready to go. So I'm going to use both. I'm going to use this in the salad recipe that I'm going to make. I'm using my own in the Hulushka recipe. So the Hulushka is already going back here. I'm going to stir it around a little bit. Now I've already cooked up my noodles. I put a pot of water on, and I bought my noodles. Now be careful with your noodles. When I was in the noodle aisle the other day, it took me a while to find one that I really liked, and I happened to end up with this one. It's called the Ronzoni. The reason why I liked it, it's yolk-free, which makes it cholesterol-free. They've added calcium, vitamin D, and fiber. It's the lowest in calories, the lowest in points that I could find. So I took half a bag. I put it in the boiling water, added a little bit of salt to it, and I cooked it up already. And I already have it in the colander ready to go. So all I have to do now is to throw this in the skillet with the rest of the cabbage, the onions, and the bacon, and stir it around. It's an excellent side dish. Sometimes it's just my whole meal. Again, it's just one of those favorites you can have. It's a comfort food, I think, for very little calories or points. I'm just going to throw the rest of this cabbage right back here in. Just put it right here. I'm going to stir that around. Now, it should be wilting up, which it's nicely doing. There we go. Of course, a little bit of salt and pepper. And one of my favorite spices that I like to use is bacon salt. I enjoy using this. It gives it a little bit of a smoky flavor. Plus, it adds the salt to it. Just adds a little flavor. So I put that in it as well. Now, in my other skillet back here, what I've done, again, I started with 3 pieces of turkey bacon. I sauteed that first, and then I added 3 or 4 large mushrooms that I cut up. Again, salt and pepper. And I have it going on the back burner, heating up nicely. You might wonder, what am I going to add to that? Well, I'll tell you that in a minute. Before I do that, I want to ask you a question. How many of you know your spokespeople for different TV products and different foods that you see on TV? I want to ask you a question. Do you think, was Chef Boyardee, was he real? Was he a real person or fictitious? How about Uncle Ben? And what do you think about Betty Crocker? Was she a real person? And Sara Lee, how about her? I want you to think about that just for a minute while our things are cooking up back there. And I was surprised when I found out too. So again, Uncle Ben, Chef Boyardee, good old Betty Crocker, or Sara Lee. So think about that for a moment while I go back there. And we're going to add one more ingredient to our, back here we have the bacon and the onions, and here's what I'm going to add to that. Honey Dijon, excellent. This is a fat-free dressing, and it makes the best warm dressing that we're going to put right over top of our cabbage. Now again, on this cabbage, all I did was open up the bag, throw it in, that's it. Cut this, put it in the bowl. Had my bacon going, my onions, and now I'm going to put about 1/3 of a bottle of this Honey Dijon dressing. Now, be careful when you do this. Don't get the vinaigrette kind. It just doesn't hold up as well. It isn't as tasty. But you're going to love this. You're going to end up making this a lot of times. So I'm just going to pour this right now, right into my bacon and my onions. Whew, there, you hear it? Oh, I wish you could smell it. What a delicious flavor. I'm just going to stir that around. We're going to pour that right over our cabbage. That's all it takes. Look at this. Oh, I do wish you could smell it. It is so good and tasty. Now all we're going to do is take this and pour it directly onto our cabbage. Oh my gosh. Stir it around and you have a hot bacon dressing for your cabbage. Now I've also tried this on spinach as well. It's just as good on spinach. But wait till you taste. You'll just love it. And it's, again, you see how simple it was. No time at all. The last thing I'm going to do is take our noodles now. I'm going to throw them into the pot here, just like that. Right into our cabbage, right into our bacon. Stir it around. Crank up the heat just a tad. And stir it. Oh, excellent. And you can alter this. You can put in more noodles if you'd like to. You can put in a little more cabbage. Put in more onions and a little more bacon if you choose to. Just stir it around. And there it is. That is already ready. And how much time was that? 6 or 7 minutes? We have a delicious salad here. It's just out of this world. And we have a nice side dish or a full course meal. I'm just going to put this right into my dish here. There we are. Turn off the burners. Don't want the smoke alarm to go off. Turn this off. And here we go. Look at this. I'll tip this up so you can see it. Hopefully you can see it. Look at that. Delicious. Low fat. Good vitamins. You get some protein. You're getting good vegetables. Excellent dish. Both of these are just excellent to have. And again, H for Hulushka. Now, would the real spokesperson please stand up? You remember to tell the truth where they would stand up? Well, I'll tell you the truth. Uncle Ben. Yes, he was real. Sara Lee. Yes, she was the daughter of the man who invented the Sara Lee, the cakes and the breads and things. And yes, there was a Chef Boyardee. I would have guessed this until I read up on it, but there really was a Chef Boyardee. The person who was fictitious, good old Betty Crocker. Yes, she was not a real person. She was a composite of a lot of different ladies that they thought would help sell the product. So there you have it. So anyway, I hope you'll try this Hulushka. I hope you'll step out of your maybe comfort zone a little bit and try something a little different. And as always, a healthy, happy eating to you and cooking. And I'll see you again later. Bye now.